Part of the redeployment of PCSOs no longer doing red route traffic enforcement, but there may be plans to cut as many as 450 PCSOs from London's police service.
London politics is boiling over. In this London Assembly debate, serious questions are being raised about crime, police cuts, accountability and transparency at City Hall. While Londoners face rising knife crime and growing insecurity, concerns emerge over police funding shortfalls, possible cuts of hundreds of PCSOs, and the transfer of community safety boards directly under Met Police control. Assembly members press the Mayor on £1.7 billion funding gaps, police numbers, and whether communities are losing their independent voice in policing decisions. Some answers are given, others are avoided. This isn't just another political exchange, it's about who really pays the price when public safety decisions are made behind closed doors. Watch until the end to understand what was said, what wasn't, and why this debate matters for every Londoner.
Okay, right, let's go back in terms of the next question is in the name of Assembly Member Roberts.
Can I thank the member for his question? Ensuring sufficient funding for police in London is vital to ensuring the Met Police Service can continue to make the improvements needed to bear down on crime and keep Londoners safe. However, the Met faces significant challenges due to the consequences of 14 years of austerity under the previous government and coalition government before that, who between 2010 and 2025 in real terms cut the Met Police budget by £1.2 billion, around a third of the Met's core budget. In contrast, I continue to pull every lever available to boost funding to the Met. To support the police and fight crime, I've taken the difficult decision to raise the police precept by the maximum allowed each year. Only a third of police and crime commissioners have done so, and I've also provided additional funding from business rates. The result is that mayoral police funding this year at £1.16 billion is more than double what my predecessor allocated in his last year in the role. My share of police funding has increased from 19% when I was first elected to 25%, while the government's share has fallen. Whilst I continue to do all I can to support the Met, policing is fundamentally funded from national taxation. I'll continue to work with the government to help secure additional funding for the Met, to keep more officers on the streets and help fund the unique responsibilities the Met has in policing the nation's capital. In developing the 2026 and 2027 budget, which covers the next 3 years, we've had to consider the increased pressures and demands on the Met, whilst prioritising the vital reforms the Commissioner set out, including in the new Met for London Plan 2. Following the announcement of the provisional grant settlement, the budget's now been reviewed and the updated position will be included in my draft budget due to be published shortly. This is, of course, an iterative process, and we're continuing to work with the Home Office ahead of the final police settlement early next month, which will determine the eventual outcome. Meanwhile, MOPAC and I continue to work hard to further improve the Met's financial management and the effectiveness with which it uses the funds available to it. The Met will always need to make careful choices about how it uses its resources to deliver for Londoners in a way that provides value for money, but under my oversight, it is doing so with sustained City Hall support.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Happy New Year to you. Could I ask, you mentioned the mayoral precept for the police. Do you expect to increase that by the maximum for the forthcoming financial year?
Without preempting and being told off for speaking in advance of the draft budget being allocated, my record for the last 8 years is to support the maximum I can, the police service, so you can take from that.
Thank you. On the estate strategy, we've seen that the estate strategy has a capital funding shortfall of £1.7 billion. Are you expecting the Met Police to have to make further tough choices in the years ahead in order to meet that demand?
Yes, it's a really shrewd question. There are two ways for us to pay for capital. One is revenues, which obviously leads to the concern that he's got. Second is to borrow. So I can't answer that today, just to reassure him the Met Police Service, and third is government, of course, just to reassure him that the Met Police Service is doing whatever it can to find alternatives to revenue money being used for capital for the reasons he's concerned about.
Thank you. Just turning to disposals of police estates, which have been listed in the estate strategy, I understand that we won't be seeing any disposals in the current financial year. In the next financial years, can you commit to ensuring that there's going to be buildings sold with community benefit in mind rather than directly to developers?
Yeah, so the good news is, he and I have discussed this briefly at a committee meeting. We've now got clarity. We can do so. There's a definition which he's well aware of and stuff. Just a word to the wise. Obviously, this may limit the monies that come in,
Yes, of course.
which obviously is one of the things we ought to consider. The other thing, just to reassure him about, because he raised this at Police and Crime Committee, is the Met Police Service will endeavour to have an annual estates delivery plan, which will give him the sort of certainty and clarity I think he's been asking for at the last time I met him at the PCC anyway.
Thank you. Moving on to police numbers, we've received information from local contacts that not only as part of the redeployment of PCSOs no longer doing red route traffic enforcement, but there may be plans to cut as many as 450 PCSOs from London's police service over the coming years. Is that a number that you recognise as Police Commissioner?
No, it's not.
No. Okay. Thank you. One final question by the time which I have available. We have written to Matt Twist and the Deputy Mayor for clarification. It'd be useful if you could encourage them to reply as soon as possible. Yesterday we heard from representatives from Safer Neighbourhood Boards and various voluntary groups in London. MOPAC is taking the decision to take responsibility for Safer Neighbourhood Board management and funding away from MOPAC and hand it over to the Metropolitan Police Service directly. Given that Safer Neighbourhood Boards are there to scrutinise local delivery of policing services, is it a wise move to put them directly under control of the Metropolitan Police Service?
I'm sure he's raised this with MOPAC and they'll be responding in due course. I mean, just my experience of Safer Neighbourhood Boards is some are excellent, some are not great. And there is an issue about how the police service and the Mayor's Office of Police and Crime better engage with Londoners. I think that's one of the issues raised at the committee hearing this week. I think a one-size-fits-all doesn't work. Yeah. I think one of the things we've seen in the recent past, it wasn't always the case with previous commissioners, is the engagement that not just local police officers, but the senior team are now doing, not least exemplified by the engagement with the new Met for London Plan 2. I think we've got to think about different ways to engage with different Londoners, particularly those who aren't the usual suspects. He and I both have experience of the usual suspects coming forward, which is great, and that's to be lauded. What about those who are, inverted commas, underserved? The old phrase was hard to reach. How do we reach them? Yeah. I'm not sure Safer Neighbourhood Board is the right way, but his challenge to me is, are the Met Police being in charge of this the right way? Let me take that away, but also make sure that he gets a response from MOPAC on that.
Thank you. And very quickly, if you can just answer shortly, because I'm aware of time, is that when things go to the Metropolitan Police and they make cuts, we hear that that's an operational decision over which you have no control. Can you guarantee that there will not be funding cuts to Safer Neighbourhood Boards when they're under the control of the Metropolitan Police?
Chair, why don't I, when I respond to him in relation to his challenge about money's being lost from MOPAC to Police Service, also get back to him in relation to this, because he's right in terms of, there's got to be some reciprocity in relation to City Hall giving additional funds to the Police Service. And so let me take that away and respond in the spirit with which it's asked.
If you believe information should not be controlled or buried, like this video, share it, and subscribe.